It is very difficult to even survive and do your day-to-day chorus. So I believe that work from home is something which should be done.
इससे पहले कभी ऐसा पानी का बैंगलोर में जब होता था नॉर्मली सब कुछ सॉल्व हो जाता था, बट इस टाइम जैसे हम न्यूज में देख रहे हैं कि जो पानी की जो कमी है, इसी फर्स्ट टाइम मैंने इतना सुना है बैंगलोर में, मुझे 4 साल हो गए रहते हुए.
According to this water crisis, from us, sir, or IIS, or whoever it is, they are helping hands for us, where they fill water from the drums and they take through buckets, and even they supply the water through first floor, second floors, and we make sure that even this is not impacted to the children. So whenever there is need of water, we supply it, and even especially for girls and boys both. When we call them, they tell that it's already been booked. So now if you're calling, you have to wait for another 3 more days. So if you need immediately, you have to pay extra like 1,500. We are ready to pay whatever they ask, but whether we are getting the supply immediately, that is what we want to ask for the government or whoever the concerned person is.
Due to insufficient water, the girls are getting infections and many problems are happening. So I would request the government to take legal actions on it and solve this problem.
Yes, our school staffs or IMAs in the school building are bringing the water in the buckets and filling them in the drums. So they are helping us so much. By this we are not getting that much of problem.
Yeah, it's so affecting to my students and studies because the water scarcity more in my school. They fill it in drum or it's more infectious. So more.
Government should look after this problem and solve it as soon as possible because even exams are coming near and there is so much shortage of water. There is no pure drinking water also. Even in rural areas there will be no water. So I think government should take some legal measures and
No neer in Bengaluru. Long queues, less showers, ordering out instead of cooking, schools shut, hospitals hit. Water crisis has pushed the citizens, the people living in the IT capital, to an edge. Mirror Now's Neha Hebale visited a school for a reality check.
The ongoing water crisis in Bengaluru has not spared anyone. Students too are now having to face the heat of the water crisis with water in school washrooms running out completely. In fact, the taps in several of the washrooms today across schools have run dry, now forcing schools to look into other sources of water such as these. Well, to give you context, of course, we've brought you those visuals of how the ayahs and the domestic helpers at these schools are having to pump water bucket by bucket or are having to fill them up, then fill these cans up and then send them to various floors of the school. Now, while the struggle is real and while the water continues to not come in the taps, the real question is for the students who are the future of tomorrow, the examinations right around the corner. It is a major cause of concern of hygiene and sanitation. Well, we are hopeful that the government, along with the support of citizens and the school management, is able to mitigate this crisis at the earliest and students do not start to fall sick in schools.
The visuals on your screens, the voices from the ground tell you Bengaluru's tragic story. But the Siddaramaiah government seems to be in denial. The Deputy Chief Minister D.K. Shivkumar has said there is no crisis, there is no water crisis, saying only 7,000 borewells have dried. While rubbishing, of course, the context was while he was rubbishing allegations of the BJP that water was being diverted to Tamil Nadu. But remember, it was just days ago that the government, the Chief Minister's official residence had to call in water tanker because they were not getting water otherwise. It was a top government minister who went on to say that his borewell has dried up. How could there be no water crisis?
As far as Bangalore, there is no water crisis. Only about 7,000 borewells have been dried. But we have made an alternative arrangement for all those things. We have taken control of the water tanks. We have identified the water sources. We will see that water will be supplied BJP is trying to tell that we are leaving water to Tamil Nadu. It is totally false. We have kept at no point of time we can't release any water to Tamil Nadu. There is no water to be released. It is just a political game they are trying. Let they do their thing.
Remember, it was just a week ago, in fact, that DK Shivkumar himself had said that his borewell has completely dried up. The government says the water crisis has worsened because of scanty rainfall this year and even the last year for that matter. We know that Bengaluru primarily gets its water supply from two sources, Kaveri River and the groundwater, which is through borewells and tankers. Remember, since last year, there have been reports of how deficient the rainfall has been, with at least 31 districts of Karnataka reeling under drought-like conditions, including Bengaluru. And the peak of summer isn't even here. Though the politics over this crisis is already peaking, so has the indiscriminate digging of borewells without replenishing the groundwater over the years. If you take some numbers into account, the city needs at least 2,600 to 2,800 million litres of water daily. Sadly, the current supply is half of what's required, and it is not going to get any better. But let me tell you that drought isn't the only reason behind Bengaluru's mess. A study by the IISC has revealed some startling facts. It is saying 93% of Bengaluru has been turned into a concrete jungle in last 50 years. Imagine, 93% in 50 years. The city has witnessed a significant rise, in fact, 1,055% rise in built-up area. By built-up area, I mean concrete surfaces and paved surfaces. According to IISC, the water area in the city has plummeted from 2,234 hectares in 1973 to just 696 hectares in 2023. In fact, most of the city's water bodies are under threat. 90% of lakes have been encroached. Other water bodies are fed with untreated sewage and industrial waste. In the last 50 years, water surface has shrunk considerably owing to the reckless concretization and urbanization in the city. So, where is brand Bengaluru headed? From Garden City to a concrete jungle? Is unplanned urbanization the real reason behind the Bengaluru mess? Have we turned our eyes off, away? Have we just been blinded for what was staring at our face? Is it time for others to learn from the mess and rectify? I'm asking these questions to my guests tonight. Madhu N. Rao, spokesperson for BJP, Syed Asad Abbas, who's a political analyst, Raghavendra B, an activist, and Ajay Kumar Anand, the Updabt ESG. Thank you very much, all four of you, for joining us. It's a very important issue, and we're going to try to look at this as citizen-oriented way as we can. Well, let me just try and go over to Raghavendra B at this point. Mr. Raghavendra, what are you looking at? Let me just try and understand this. Are you facing any water issues? Is your family, is your building, are you facing any of these water challenges?
Yes, thank you for the opportunity. I'm not facing the issues, but of course, across Bangalore, everybody is, most of them are facing. My friends, my colleagues are facing this, and it is a fact. It is, we can't deny that. Yeah, thank you.
Ajay Kumar Anand, are you facing a water crisis? Are your loved ones facing a water crisis?
Yes, my two loved ones are facing the water crisis. In fact, my colleagues at office have started working from home because of the situation what is undergoing right now. So, I mean, this has started from around a week to 10 days back, and now we have given the permission to my colleagues to work from home to avoid this impact to them. So most of them opted for that.
Thank you very much. We'll try and come back. Okay, all right. Is that something that more of Bengaluru is seeing over the last month or so? Are more people now returning back to work from home? Because after COVID, after a year or so, now offices wanted people to return physically. There became a big debate around there. Now, Are companies more and more allowing people work from home because of this water crisis?
Yes, people are allowing, because the reason is, yes, the water problem has created such a sad situation, so that today, I mean, they will have to take this hard decision. So though this was in practice during the COVID time, so now it's a continuation right now. So I mean, the cause is basically, I mean, the water table has depleted, as you also showed certain statistics, which was given by IISC. So I think the water table has got depleted, and the another aspect is there needs to be a lot of measures which needs to come in place, and this should start both from the government and both from citizens. So only then it can be a win-win situation for everyone.
Most certainly. But before I return to both of you, let me also just go across to Syed Asad Abbas. Syed Asad Abbas, from what I understand, much of Bengaluru, particularly in the IT corridor, at the outskirts of Bengaluru, are not getting water. They are heavily reliant on tankers. And I have messages with me that I have received that have been forwarded to me. Even the tankers that they are trying to source water from are now saying, if you want that kind of water, that huge number of water, you need to be able to take an annual membership for it. Otherwise, you will not be given that kind of water. So while the government is claiming there is no water crisis, while the government is claiming that water crisis has been met, clearly from the ground report that Mirror now has done, what our panelists are saying, that's far from a reality.
Snehaji, those water tanker mafia who get to dictate their terms need to be seized immediately as per the order of Mr. D.K. Shivkumar, the Deputy Chief Minister. What he has done is he's capped the rates. There was a time when a water tanker was asking for 5,000 rupees, 6,000 rupees, which is a ridiculous amount. That is being capped as per 5 to 10 kilometers from 600 rupees to a max of 1,200 rupees for one single water tanker required. Therefore, also these water tanker must and should be registered. Only 200 out of 3,000 odd water tankers are registered. If they are not registered, there are rules laid down in the place where their vehicles will be seized.
No, but if you are saying this, let's listen. You know, we just heard what DK Shivkumar said. Of course, he was countering what the BJP was alleging, and that's the context. But doesn't a deputy chief minister, doesn't the government need to be extremely careful? You may have measures in place. You may have brought in certain changes or initiated certain changes. That doesn't really mean on the ground there's no crisis.
There is certainly a crisis, undoubtedly. Who said there is no crisis? As a matter of fact, let me tell you one thing. At the behest of
we heard that bite.
Congress,
he said there is no water crisis.
Bharatiya Janata Party, it is absolutely unfortunate. I truly believe none of this issue must be made into politics. This has been in the times of B.S. Yediyurappa, former Chief Minister Basuraj Bommai, Siddaramaiah, D.K. Shivkumar. It's been there from many, many years. I've been a Bangalorean all my life. So therefore, a humble request with folded hands to all the respective parties here, including the JDS, to stop politicizing this issue. It's all about coming together and the right governance where we, the people of Bengaluru, come together, fight the water tanker mafia, bring in water harvesting systems, bring in much better preemptive measures which are going to help us combat this situation. Rather than
Syed, I'll come back to you. I'll come back to you. Let me just get in Madhu and Rao as well. Madhu and Rao, you've heard what Syed has said, and he's not said anything wrong. Of course, the truth remains. Governments after governments after governments after governments after governments, and Karnataka has an alternating government every 5 years, as it has been at least at the assembly level. Every government is collectively responsible, and the BJP has also failed in this.
May I answer? Well, good evening.
Please, sir.
I was just listening to all the panelists. Now let me give some facts and data in 2 minutes, kindly. See, we know Bangalore, and I have been a native Bangalorean, born, brought up, and seeing as to how Bangalore has progressed. Yes, urbanization is an issue. Well, that is a hazard we need to see in every city for that matter, be it as it may. Let's understand one thing. The Bangalore requirement is 2,100 million liters per day, and 90% or 75% of the water comes from Kaveri Delta. This being the scenario, well, the borewell getting dried up and all, it's all a fact. But fact of the matter remains, the government at the day should be vigilant enough to ensure that there is enough water supply, at least for drinking water purposes. Now, I am not pot-shotting at anyone, but then the fact remains a fact. Let me tell you this. 60.97 TMC of water was released between 12th June to 7th August to Tamil Nadu. Why was it released? As we are supposed to release only 32 TMC of water, Sneha, for 1.8 hectare of crop. We have left water for Tamil Nadu, 60 TMC of water for 4 lakh hectares. Who are we to answer? Who are we to question? By
Syed
the way,
Asad Abbas,
we know very well
do you want to respond to this? He's giving out figures, he's giving out exact figures. Do you want to respond to this? Because DK Shiv Kumar has said there's been no water which has been released to Tamil Nadu.
My friend,
is he misleading the people?
Read the Supreme Court's order.
For a minute.
I get quiet.
Madhu, you've made a very important point. Let him respond. I will come back to you, Mr. Madhu. I will come back to you. You've made a very important point, a very relevant point. People need to know the answer. Please, Syed Asad Abbas.
My friend needs to know that this is as per the Supreme Court's directives and orders.
You're wrong.
You need to read that, sir.
Baba.
Are you delving in contempt of court now?
It
is as per the Karnataka government. No, allow me to answer. Snehaji is not allowing me to answer. Don't heckle, sir. Hear me 30 seconds.
Madhu, allow him to answer, Mr. Madhu. Allow him to answer. Give him a minute. I will come back to you.
Thank you, Sneha. Okay. My dear friend from the BJP has made a relevant point. But respected sir, be it a Siddaramaiah government here under the Congress, or even if there was continuation of a Basuraj Bommai government under the Bharatiya Janata Party, both the chief ministers and the able government need to follow the Supreme Court's directives and orders. They cannot entail in contempt of court. And mind you, be it a DK Shiv Kumar or Siddaramaiah, they cannot allow the supply of water beyond the Supreme Court's orders. Why, sir? Why would they go against the Supreme Court orders or the state of Karnataka? Why would they want a crisis for their own state rather than being generous towards Tamil Nadu?
Madhu Rao, before I go to the others, Madhu Rao. All right, you made your point. Mr. Madhu Rao, back to you. Please take it away.
Give me 30 seconds. Syed, I think you have not seen the affidavit of 23 August 2023. Kindly read the affidavit. Point 1. Point 2. You read it, please, boss. I'll send it to you. Point 2. As per the requirement of the Kaveri tribunal, you are supposed to leave 32 TMC of water. They have left more. I am not saying it is on record to say this. And point 3, I only want to ask the question to the Congress government. Are you in hands with Tamil Nadu? Are you not entitled to look after the interest of Karnataka?
Okay.
Just because you are in...
Raghavendra, how are you looking at this situation? Isn't this something that Bengaluru should have foreseen? Weak monsoon, no, let me go to Raghavendra. Weak monsoon, very dismal level of groundwater. This should have been foreseen. I mean, other governments may have done what they have, but the current government should have seen this coming.
Yes, actually, this issue persists for years together, decades together. So I think in one government or fixing one government or another government will not help us, I think. We need to go to the root. Root says Bangalore is around 920 meters above sea level. There is no water source around us, and rains are the only way we have sustained over years. So we are not. I mean, as per the IISC study also, we have lost all these green cover, and that is one of the major reasons why we are facing this crisis. And we can't depend on Kaveri water, which is far away, which we did some time back. In 1960s, when BWSSB started, we went to Kaveri, brought more water. Urbanization is one of the major reasons. Rapid urbanization is one of the reasons. So,
no, Raghavendra, one thing, Kaveri water cannot be depended upon, but so can't this indiscriminate borewells without a policy to replenish the groundwater also. That is also something that is completely crumbling the entire infrastructure right now.
Yeah, what happens is Bangalore development is rapidly happening. And by the time we go to the periphery, the development and the water bodies in the periphery start diminishing gradually because of the reality and all other issues. So somewhere we are not able to protect our water body. That is one of the major reasons, which is also recharging our borewell. So I think we should see in those lines rather than fixing one government or the other. And I would suggest one small suggestion. One is we should think of, government should invest more on rainwater harvesting, which is not done to the maximum.
Absolutely.
Then BMRCL
in
has
fact,
a
we
good
have seen many places that have completely turned around their disaster, very similar to this in several states of India, with just this rainwater harvesting as well as other modes to replenish the groundwater. I just have a minute left. Mr. Ajay Kumar, when you look around you and the way Bengaluru's water is being supplied, do you see a city that is India's IT capital, that is a dream for billions of people, that is supposed to be a home for so many more who are going to make their way in Bengaluru? Do you see the governments giving enough importance to this, except for when they are staring at a drought?
I feel, it's not just taking an action at Sneha when there is a crisis. So there has to be a continuous process of its own if it is to be started at least from now, because we haven't experienced such kind of a situation. At least in the last 20, 25 years of my situation. So, it's not only about depleting borewells. It is more in terms of the government should work towards ensuring communities have access to clean and safe water. And the other aspect is there is aligning with the water management strategies, which they have to do it with the companies around in Bangalore.
Absolutely, Mr. Ajay Kumar. I'm afraid I'm being told to wrap. We are totally out of time.